You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The views expressed by the individuals during this broadcast are their own opinions, and they may not be the same as those of their group or other organizations they may be involved with.
Oh yeah, baby, that's lovely.
We now wander off the beaten path with an update from the Reefer Reporter.
Hello and welcome to the Reefer Reporters with news highlights. Glenn Prentice and myself, Bell Graham. It's September the 22nd, 2022, and we are live here from the Legacy420.com news desk, and you'll find us on our Facebook wall, YouTube, Twitter. We're streaming live to all of them, and the podcast is available afterwards at paceradio.net. Good morning, Glenn.
Good morning, Al. How are you?
I'm not too bad. Just in case anybody's wondering, I'm filling in for Cindy today. Cindy was she was all ready to go with the show. And as Glenn, you know, and our watchers know that Cindy's just gotten back from Ontario from, I don't know, probably a week and a half or so away.
Yeah, a week and a half so.
Yeah. And it was a long drive. So I'd say she's sort of paying for that long drive, I guess. So I'm filling in for her today, and she'll return next week. All righty.
Hope she's okay.
I hope she's okay as well. So I'm sure she will be. She'll update us when she gets a minute. So, well, what's new and exciting?
Nothing. My house is still for sale. I still have no offers yet.
So, oh wow, really? Eh?
Showings every single day, but no offers.
Geez, being that you're getting showings, there's still some interest there, right?
Yeah, that's what the agent still says. There's lots of showings, but people are still a little bit antsy right now.
Yeah. They haven't tried to talk you into lowering your price yet, then, eh?
Well, we already got told that we're getting a low ball offer today, but I'm not even considering low ball offers. I don't have to sell the house, so I'll
no, correct. Yeah. You'll see what happens. You'll see what happens. All right. Well, what do you say? Should we get ready into our first story of the day?
Sounds good.
All right, here we go. First up, Canada Biotech enters British Columbia market and launches the first live resin vape. And this is according to Mugglehead magazine.
And Quebec case Canara Biotech Incorporated has entered British Columbia and will ship its first batch of products this week. On Tuesday, the cannabis producer announced the shipment of the 7 SKUs of products, including flower, pre-rolls, and hash. The company will now be selling its products in Ontario, Quebec, and British Columbia in the upcoming weeks. The BC Liquor Distribution Branch has shown great confidence in our brand's strong value proposition by listing 7 SKUs across Tribal, Nugs, and Orchid. CBD CEO Zohar Kivarot said.
Well, he continues to say, we couldn't be happier to see our flower, pre-rolls, and hash concentrate shipped to British Columbia retailers and consumers this week, and we thank our dedicated team that has overseen the growth and expansion across 3 of Canada's largest markets, Ontario, Quebec, and BC, in addition to Saskatchewan.
The company also announced the release of its first battery accessory live resin vape cartridge, Tribal G-Mind, in Ontario. Tribal Gelato Mint flower has been a consumer favorite in Ontario and a key genetic to capture market share when we entered the market in November 2021, CFO Nicholas Sosiak said. Our 1 gram G-Mint live resin vape cartridge contains only fresh frozen gelato mint flower, which is a breeder exotic genetics that is grown in our facility with 0 additives for a true to cultivar full flavor experience on the go, Sosiak said. The introduction of Tribal G's Mint Live resin vape cartridge is the latest example of Canara's goal to provide highly desirable premium cannabis products at affordable prices.
I see there they say that the connected with the Yocan, which is a vape pen. So they're actually connected to them there as well. So it's getting the other industries involved with.
They're working together.
They're working together. Exactly. So yeah. So there's some live resin that's available out there in BC and other jurisdictions. All
Interesting.
right. Interesting. I haven't bought any resins or anything like that from any of the OCS stores or anything, so I don't know what any of them are like offhand. And talking about stores and cannabis, one thing that's not in a news today is at 11 o'clock this morning, so in another 45 minutes, Health Canada is going to be bringing up and talking about the review process of the Cannabis Act here in Canada.
Great.
So,
Finally.
yeah, an update on. Holy smokes! Like it's only a little bit late, I'd say.
Yeah.
So,
Just
all
a
right,
bit.
on to our next story from StratCan. It says the cannabis industry still recovering from the OCS and LBD distribution shutdowns in August.
And after a cyber attack shut down Ontario's cannabis warehouse and distribution system at the beginning of August, followed by a strike action in BC beginning on August 15th that shut down that province's cannabis warehouse and distribution system, cannabis stores say they are beginning to receive orders that are allowing them to restock shelves again. Both provinces saw all orders to and from their distribution centers shut down for about 2 weeks, meaning retailers were receiving little to no supply to restock shelves. This led to some stores in both provinces having to reduce hours or even temporarily shut their doors as they could no longer meet consumer demands. But even as those shipments have started back up again and things begin to return to normal, some retailers say it will be weeks or even months before they have fully recovered.
That's right. Now, according to Genoa Cavoyne, geez, I'm so used to saying McLean. She is the owner of Kylex and Trichomes. So she just got married, so she has her name changed. Yeah, she's the co-owner of Kylex and Trichomes Cannabis in Kingston. And she says that she expects it won't be until the end of the year at the earliest before she is fully recovered and her shelves are fully replenished. Although she has now received 3 full shipments since the delivery system reopened in Ontario in mid-August, it's been difficult to order enough product to backfill everything they sold out of in the first 2 weeks of August.
And the challenge hasn't been just getting new orders coming in to replenish her supply and restock shelves, but it's also that this means much larger orders that she has to find ways to pay for. We were completely depleted, explains Cavion. The last 3 orders were really big, about double what we would normally order. I'm hoping by December that it will be back to where it's supposed to be. But that's the best case scenario. It's a lot of money, she continues. The profit margins aren't as high as I would like, and we need our weekly sales to help pay for next week's orders. So this means dipping into our savings to pay for shipments that are much larger than normal, just to bring us back to a place where we were back to where we were before all this happened.
Tongue twister. Yeah, and in BC, Grant Pang, the manager of La Canepa Boutique, with 3 locations in the Vancouver area, says he sees a similar timeline for their 3 stores, fully recovering from the 2+ week shutdown they faced in regard to deliveries in BC. He says that it did hurt us quite a bit, but if everything goes well, we should be able to recover in the next few months.
And he thinks they'll be close to fully stocked in the next few weeks. He expects it'll take several months to fully regain consumer confidence that some customers could be lost forever. Of course they will be. Yeah. We had momentum, but now we have to see if we can regain that momentum. So even once we are fully stocked, it could take months before we've won back all of our customers. And I'd say they're not going to win back all of their customers. Some of them are gone for good.
Well, this is what he says about that. He says, why not? One irony is that he thinks that sales may have actually increased during the strike.
Yeah.
Customers were making larger purchases, he says. Wow.
Yeah. They were all worried. Think about it. You can't get your medicine.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So people are making larger orders knowing that the stores are going to be, basically shut down because the product's not going to last, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, people are still suffering from those things, and from what they're saying, they're looking at a couple more months before they even get caught back up.
Yep, it sounds that way.
Sounds that way. All right, yeah. So see what happens. I'm sure we'll hear about more of that as time goes on. So, all right, we got our next story all lined up, and it comes to us from Mugglehead magazine, and that says that Kiva launches market donation program to prevent cannabis waste. Reducing waste is good, Glenn.
Yeah, cannabis edibles that are set to expire within the next 30 days or lack ample potency will now have a new designated purpose in California. On Tuesday, Kiva Confections announced the launch of Kiva Cares Project, a new donation program that will provide medical patients in California with edibles from the company that are either out of spec, set to expire within the next month, or lack other distribution requisites. The company says the project was created with the objective of establishing an industry standard for the prevention of cannabis waste and helping those in need. The Kiva Cares initiative will be making its debut in the Golden State initially and eventually expanding across the U.S.
Hey, the stuff's still good.
Yeah.
It's only, it's still within its expiry date. I'm not sure about the out of spec end of things. Maybe bad packaging or something. I hate to see them out of spec because it's got bad flavor or it's missing.
I think most of them are talking about it's less THC or less CBD than it states on the package.
Yeah. There you go. Okay, and it says the company says the project was created with the objective of establishing an industry standard for the prevention of cannabis waste, which you've already mentioned. Kiva originated from a young couple in the Bay Area who started making cannabis-infused chocolate bars in their kitchen. And now the company has its products in multiple dispensaries throughout U.S. and Canada.
Nice.
The Kiva Cares project was started after the company's quality and a compliance manager learned about the quantity of cannabis products that are being wasted annually due to things like packaging defects, approaching expiring dates, and being too potent or not potent enough. She thought that those products could benefit people who lacked access or were struggling financially.
The cannabis industry, I got to pop up here. The cannabis industry has the power and potential to serve public health in a way that is both unique and revolutionary. We are not only scratching the surface of scaling the kind of life-changing impact cannabis can have for those consumers who need it the most, said Erica Osuki, Quality and Compliance Manager at Kiva. Organizations such as Weed for Warriors and the Sweet Leaf Collective will assist Kiva with distributing the cannabis edible to those in need through partnerships with various dispensaries. Sweet Leaf and Team Compassion are excited to be part of the Kiva Cares project. These collective industry efforts will undoubtedly help thousands of veterans and patients across the U.S. with $1.75 million worth of free medical cannabis products through the Kiva Cares project. Together, they're serving and transforming lives, said Joe Sweetleaf, founder of Sweetleaf Collective.
So there you go. Putting the waste to use. Yeah,
we've been talking about this many times about how much waste there is in this industry.
Yeah, and if the product, if there's nothing that's harmful, to a person, a patient, or whatever, then it's recycling, reusing the product. It's and making it affordable for people to get at.
Makes sense to me, and there's way less waste.
Way less waste. That's right. Exactly. All right. On to our next story. How weed is affecting pharmaceutical profits and what that could mean for legalization, according to the Fresh Toast.
Perhaps rather than fighting off cannabis, pharmaceutical companies can invest more into understanding the many possibilities and benefits of cannabis. Individual states continue to open their doors to medical and recreational cannabis. As they do, a new frontier of treatment options opens up to all the state's citizens who struggle with various conditions, from cancer to multiple sclerosis and many other conditions in between. Cannabis has started to help those who, before medical or recreational cannabis legalization, only had access to pharmaceutical medications.
Well, this is great news for those who previously had limited tools to treat their medical conditions and the pains associated with them. This is causing shortfalls in pharmaceutical stocks that are likely to widen as legalization efforts progress further. A recent study published by the Journal of PLOS One has data suggesting that when medical and recreational cannabis becomes legal in a state, there is a swift and noticeable dip in pharmaceutical stock profits. While this decrease might not look significant when measuring overall profits of one of the greatest or grandest and most profitable industries, The losses this study is suggesting are certainly eye-opening and worth some contemplation.
This is more things that we've known for a long time. And when you introduce cannabis as a medicine that's legal, all these other medicines go down in their use.
Well, hey, I'm a good example.
Mhm.
Because of cannabis, I never had a prescription for any opiate drugs other than when I've been hospitalized. So I'm not buying perks or oxys or anything.
Yeah.
I'm just using cannabis. So that's taking a dent in.
You're not one of their customers, along with hundreds, maybe thousands of other people in this country and the States.
Exactly.
To put things into perspective, you should understand how much of an impact just one legalization can affect overall drug company profits margins. According to the study, returns decreased in response to both medical and recreational legalization because they're both medical. For both generic and brand drug makers, investors anticipate a single legalization event to reduce drug maker annual sales by $3 billion on average. Regardless of how big an industry it is, $3 billion is not petty cash. Further, this loss occurs each year and just from one legalization.
Yeah. What makes these losses even more dramatic is that they often begin to take effect almost immediately. According to the study, the average stock returns were 1.5 to 2% lower just 10 days after legalization of cannabis is in a given state. This shows that not only is there a very real and noticeable loss in profit, but the losses begin almost like clockwork after a state grants legal access to cannabis.
I think they're taking this on the wrong angle. They're the drug profits from these companies are down. I think that's a positive thing.
That's a positive thing for
people, for
humans.
humans.
They're not spending the money. I guess it could be, maybe if you wanted to look at it as a down thing, you could say, well, maybe it's a down thing because that gives them less money to do research on different kinds of drugs that might help down the road for somebody who's in serious condition.
It's true, but I think they can also probably concentrate more on things that matter more to humanity, than these drugs that we're replacing with cannabis. So I don't know. This financial downturn the drug companies are taking on might have you wondering if and how these powerful companies are responding to this. As the News Atlas reported, the study does note that there is evidence that pharmaceutical companies have recognized this threat from legalized cannabis and begun targeted lobbying to prevent broader legalization. Of course, that's what they always do. It's no secret that pharmaceutical companies are doing what they can to stop further legalization efforts. In fact, The Guardian first reported on pharmaceutical companies funneling money in an effort to block future cannabis legalization across the country in a 2016 article. And these efforts do not currently show signs of ending. After all, why would they? Until the last state has legalized cannabis, that is.
Yeah. Still, one has to wonder if this is a futile battle. Perhaps rather than fighting off cannabis, pharmaceutical companies can invest more into understanding the many possibilities and benefits of cannabis. It is, after all, still a relatively untapped resource for potential new products, as it is. As we previously reported, a new study came out this summer showing that cannabinoids can be safer and more effective than opioids for certain types of pain. And if the energy being placed to stop cannabis legalization was channeled into finding more ways to use cannabis to treat illnesses, who knows what great and profitable results could be achieved. It's exactly what we said.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Yeah. All right. Last story before we go to break. And this one is coming to us from High Times. And the headline on it says, more than 400 pounds of weed seized by the Border Control and dog in Cincinnati. The dog gets in there.
On the outside, they look like dehumidifiers. A look inside the appliances revealed more than $1 million worth of contraband. That was the haul intercepted by U.S. Customs and Border Protection officers and their trusty narcotics detector dog Bruno in Cincinnati over the weekend. In Cincinnati, Wow.
Cincinnati. Yeah, Bruno.
The dog apparently alerted the officers to a shipment of dehumidifiers, with each one containing vacuum-sealed bags containing cannabis on Saturday, the agency said. The shipments arrived in the port of Cincinnati, and while conducting canine operations, Bruno alerted to these dehumidifiers that were arriving from Ontario, Canada.
Oh, really? Officers inspected the first shipment and discovered vacuum-sealed bags hidden inside the dehumidifier cases. Officers tested the substance, which was positive for cannabis, and officers then inspected all 12 dehumidifiers and discovered that each one had concealed bags containing cannabis, 413 pounds in total, according to Customs Border Protection said in the press release. CBP said that the shipment was heading to a company based in Great Britain, and the cannabis had an approximate street value of $1.1 million.
So I'm going to wait for the U.S. Border and Protection Service to donate this seized 413 pounds to the people who are in the last story, helping out the medical patients.
Dude, that would be nice. That would be nice, but don't count on it.
Wouldn't that be great?
Would be.
LaFonda D. Sutton Burke, the director of field operations at CBP's Chicago field office, praised the work of Bruno. Our canine teams are invaluable assets with the to the CBP enforcement strategy, Sutton Burke said in a press release. These interactions are a testament to the hard work, dedication, and training these teams employ on a daily basis protecting America. The agency emphasized that transitional criminals are desperate and will take any measures within their reach to get their illegal narcotics across our borders. Wow.
Wow. Yeah, I know, eh?
I don't think there was anything wrong with any of this. Wow. Who was hurt by this?
Yeah, nobody. Our officers have been trained to identify and stop shipments that pose a threat to our nation and our international counterparts. We are committed to the CBP mission and continue to assist our law enforcement allies around the world. Well, recreational cannabis has been legal in a growing number of states, and Democrats in Washington continue to flirt with the idea of ending prohibition on the federal level. The U.S. Customs and Border Protection continue to intercept cannabis on the U.S. border and the country's ports. Yeah, they do.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, what do you say? Yeah. Okay, there we go. We'll wrap up that story. And why don't we just head to break?
Sure.
All right. Well, Bruno's doing his job, and, maybe hopefully someday Bruno will be able to retire.
I hope so.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Glenn and I'll be right back after our joint session because we're going to go medicate. You're watching the Reefer Reporters. We're live here on the Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter locations. You're listening to us, well, maybe on a podcast afterwards. Talk to you shortly. You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
At Legacy 420, we believe in being different.
Experience the difference of quality control.
Our labs provide tested formulations for all of our products.
Experience the difference in trust.
Our customers can trust that we are following up-to-date COVID precautions for their safety.
Experience the difference in accessibility.
We're open 7 days a week. Please visit our website, legacy420.com, or contact us for curbside pickup as well as nationwide mail order shipping.
Legacy 420 values overall wellness.
Come and experience the difference of Legacy 420.
Pace Radio Network, by patients, for patients, and for those who want to know.
BMA Hydroponics has everything you need to succeed. Visit our hydroponics superstore at 404 Maitland Drive in Belleville, and we'll show you how to grow your own quality cannabis for pennies per gram. We're open Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Thursdays and Fridays from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Call 613-967-9888. BMA Hydroponics. It's worth the drive.
The only way to go.
Hi folks, Scott from stfattiesday.com here, and we're absolutely stoked to tell you about our brand new program called Pass the Peace Pipe and our partnership with Legacy 420 out of Tyndonega. We are absolutely proud to be partners with these people. They are an amazing group that have helped so many people with their amazing cannabis medicinal products. And we are working together to gather funds to build the first ever Indigenous specific opioid addiction center here in the Bay of Quinte area on Tyndonega land. So we need your help. We need you to repost this video and go to our GoFundMe campaign, because on this October 17th, St. Fatty's Day, we are going to be starting the campaign where we pass the peace pipe from one side of the country to another to unite our country, to gather awareness, but most importantly funds to build opioid addiction centers across the nation, one build at a time.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net. Hey, we're back for a medication session, and we are live here on our Facebook and YouTube pages, Twitter, so on and so forth. Glenn, did you recognize anything in that last little commercial thing there, that little promo?
I like the little plant. It's a pretty cool little plant. I'm hoping it's Humber Valley.
It is. It is. It is. Exactly. And just so you know, we announced it on Tuesday, and we've already got some guesses as far as what it's going to be. So, anybody out there who's good at trying to figure out what a plant could produce on a short time, get involved. It doesn't cost anything. All you got to do is go to paceradio.net, look for the little promo button there on the contest, click on that, and it takes you to a web page with all the information you need, including a form that you just put in your grammage, put your email in because we can get hold of you, and then put your guess, send it. And
that's a cool contest. Great idea.
Yeah, it'll come in, we'll receive it, and we'll let everybody know. As far as there's no end date, because we don't know how long the plant's going to be able to stay out there because of weather, and I'm gonna check the trichomes and stuff. So it may not even finish, but we'll find out. So, and I'm not adding any more pictures because anybody who's guessing early would have a disadvantage if I updated the pictures for anybody who's doing it later on. So that won't happen.
Can you guess more than once?
No, one guess.
Okay.
One guess. All righty, here we go. Second half. Gordon Fresh Toast wants to know how to beat the Munchies. Is it even possible?
How can you stop the pizza and junk food cravings after a smoke session? You can either stop smoking entirely or try some of these tricks. Cannabis has so many benefits, from pain, whether emotional or physical, to spiritual exploration. However, for people who may be plagued with a few extra pounds, there is one downside to cannabis: the munchies. And how do you stop them?
Well, they say this approach, they smoke before your meals, because this approach combats the munchies by not fighting it all at all, but rather to use it to your favor. It simply means that you have to plan when you decide to smoke in order to use this natural side effect to your benefit. I personally like to smoke while I'm cooking, and a good meal for two reasons. I could see that be a benefit.
Yeah.
Smoking before, and that way eating your dinner removes that.
Makes sense. It helps me enjoy the experience of cooking, and I have an appetite after cooking. If I don't smoke, I'm typically not interested in eating after I cook for at least an hour. This way I can smoke and eat with my family. Yum. If I'm cooking, it's making me hungry.
Yeah. Exactly. You say this This is definitely a smart way to deal with unhealthy munchies, but you're still giving into the munchies.
I broke this habit cold turkey. I just stopped one day. It wasn't that difficult. The key is to not eat even a little, because once you start, it's hard to stop. That was from some dude on Reddit. I personally don't think you need to be so drastic, but some people find that the challenge of denying yourself the short-lived pleasure is the way of breaking the habit. If it works, it works.
Yeah. The person is right, though. Munchies is somewhat of a compulsive behavior. You begin with one donut, and suddenly you're snarfing down a few more for good measure. If you're going to go cold turkey and test your resolve, I'd recommend being as religious about this as possible. However, this may begin to deteriorate your high, since you'll always be starving yourself post-toke. There's no fun in that.
Healthy munchies. One of the best ways to beat the munchies is to properly plan for the munchies. The biggest issue with the munchies isn't that you're hungry, but rather you don't want to be munching down a sugary, caloric-filled garbage. Instead, you can prepare for the munchies by getting healthy foods in your fridge, prepared for consumption at a second's notice. For example,
I think that's a big key. I think that's a big key. Available at a second's notice.
Yeah, because otherwise they reach for chips or something, you know?
Correct, exactly. Continue.
Yeah. This example, for example, make a bowl of toasted peanuts and dried cranberries. Cut up pieces of carrot, celery sticks, jacama, and put them in little Tupperware containers in the fridge. You can also make nutritional treats like cacao with a bit of organic peanut butter, ground nuts, and shredded coconut. Roll it into balls and put it into the freezer. That stuff is amazing.
There you go. These superfoods will help you beat the munchies by giving your body super nutritious snacks, which will stoke your energy levels with the essentials you need. There was a season when I drank smoothies daily for my munchies, just raw organic stuff. I felt amazing. I should totally get back into that. Say another option is to simply make it more difficult for you to comply. After all, compulsion can be reduced if you increase the effort to comply.
Yeah. For example, only smoking in the woods, away from people and away from stores, or to lock the fridge, or put your favorite snacks out of reach. Anything to increase the difficulty or to increase the degree of difficulty. This does not work for procrastination, but I personally think this is too much effort to be a sustainable practice. What if it rains? Are you going to run into the woods to toke up? Of course not. You're probably going to be toking at home, which means that you'll be faced with the same problem. Do women get munchies more than men after using cannabis? Check this science out.
This is one of the main personal tricks. They say wait 10 minutes and be mindful. This is one of the personal tricks that have worked for me in the past. Since munching can be a compulsive habit, you can use this to trick to hack your mind. This trick to hack your mind. In essence, when you want to munch, simply stop what you're doing. Set an alarm for 10 minutes and simply observe your state. See what it is you are craving and question it. Will this help me or not? Do I really need it? Is there something better I can do? Usually by the end of the 10 minutes, you would have reduced the intensity of the compulsion and then can take a mindful decision to edge it out. I think, Glenn, by in 10 minutes, you probably forgot about it.
Yeah, it's true. There's been many times where I didn't get anything, I go up there, I'm hungry, and I didn't find anything I liked. And 10 minutes later, I didn't need anything after that,
You're correct, exactly.
So the trick's not to deny yourself, but to become aware of your compulsions. When you do this, you are able to release yourself from automated responses and stop becoming a slave to the body. Leptin levels in the body is one reason some people get munchies more than others. So I must have lots of leptin. Sometimes you'll fill up, and that's totally okay. But the more you practice mindful munching, the better you'll get at identifying the underlying programs that dictate a lot of your behavior. However, this is not limited to cannabis alone. You can use this trick for everything from gaming to porn, smoking, tobacco, or any other issue you have. A bit of mindfulness goes a long way.
Now, they say the bottom line is at the end of the day, you only have a few options when it comes to dealing with munchies. Smoke and eat, get healthier snacks, deny yourself via the cold turkey method, make it harder to comply, or be mindful of your behavior. And there you go.
Yep.
Yeah, I
Makes
gotta
sense.
agree with that. Makes sense to me.
Common sense things.
Yeah. I think that doing something to keep yourself busy takes that off your mind.
It does. It does.
Yeah. Exactly. All right, on to our next story. And this one says from Ganjaneer, handheld vaporizer market to reach $16 billion by 2031.
A new transparency market research report found the handheld vaporizer market is expected to be valued at $15.9 billion by 2031, driven largely by the device's ease of access and the global expansion of adult use and medical cannabis reforms. The handheld vaporizer, that's same thing. The report credits the expected growth to the growing popularity of dry and conductive vaporizers, as well as the introduction of new innovations involving wax and oil vape pens. Additionally, the market is expected to see significant funding for improving the vaporizer's design and function, and these innovations will further help grow the device's popularity and use among consumers.
The researchers said in a press release that other factors contributing to the market's expansion include the easy hand cleaning of handheld vaporizers, the ease with which one can use and carry the device, and the fact that vaporizing is a more discreet option than the traditional methods of smoking cannabis, like a pipe or a joint. The report also says the increased acceptance of medical cannabis by consumers and their governments around the world would be a driving force for growing the handheld vaporizer market.
And lastly, researchers suggested that while the North American vaporizer market is expected to uphold its position as the current global leader in terms of market size, the market is expected to gain sizable avenues of growth for growth in Europe during the forecast period of 22 to 31, as cannabis is technically legal in several regional nations such as Italy.
There you go. So vaporizers on the increase.
They definitely are. I know a lot more people are using them now than I knew before.
Yeah, same here. And I got to say, that's sort of like those having things prepared for the munchies. They say, it's easier just to grab those munchies versus preparing something. And people may just find it easier just to go grab a vape cartridge and put it on, and they're done. They don't have to spend the time cleaning like you do a bong or pipe.
I have a vaporizer that I really like. But it doesn't give me the same feeling as using my bong or smoking a joint.
I completely understand. I
know it's a different experience.
Yeah, exactly. All right, on to our next story, which this one should be very interesting. From the French Toast, the most cannabis-friendly religions.
While many popular religions are still figuring out their modern day policy on cannabis, some religions have been cannabis friendly all along. Some people describe cannabis as a spiritual experience. It certainly has the ability to expand the mind and help you relax at the same time, which can allow you to accept all sorts of positive vibrations. Unfortunately, not all religions and religious leaders see it that way. Most religions, including most Christianity sects, still have a long way to go before they fully embrace cannabis. Even the cool Pope Francis isn't a supporter of cannabis yet.
Cool? What they put on Jesus's feet. Well, but while many popular religions are still figuring out their modern day policy in cannabis, some religions have been friendly all along, right? If they say Rastafarian, if you have ever gotten high and listened to Bob Marley, you are most likely familiar with the Rastafari religion, at least on a basic level. Rastafarianism is a newer religion that came to fruition in Jamaica in the 1930s. This religion was a specific interpretation of the Bible, and it became known worldwide through the music of Bob Marley. Marley was an avid cannabis enthusiast, as many people know, right? And loved soccer too.
According to the BBC, cannabis is used by Rastafarians to heighten feelings of community and to produce visions of a religious and calming nature. Additionally, according to the article, Rastas rarely referred to the plant as marijuana, but rather as wisdom weed, or the holy herb. It doesn't get much more accepting than that.
Ganja.
Yep.
Hedonism. Hinduism. I'm gonna mess up that.
Hinduism.
Cannabis dates back to some of the earliest days in the form of the Vedas. The Vedas were sacred Hindu texts and that backdate as old as 2000 BC. They expressed that cannabis was one of the 5 sacred plants and that a guardian angel lived in its leaves. The Vedas call cannabis a source of happiness, joy giver, liberator that was compassionately given to humans to help us attain delight and lose fear. To this day, many Hindus gather at certain festivals to honor Shiva, a god associated with this magical plant. This deep-rooted history and continued tradition makes Hinduism relationship with cannabis very unique.
As we have reported, Buddhism. As we have reported, spiritual meditation and cannabis go hand in hand. But Buddhism frowns on substances seen as drugs or things that alter the mind or body. However, the Dalai Lama himself, the Buddhist spiritual leader, vocalized his support for medical cannabis. According to The Atlantic, he supports legal medical cannabis when the drug has been shown to have value. He did mention, however, this does not extend to someone using this substance to have a crazy mind. So while the religious leader may not be able to get behind recreational cannabis quite yet, it seems like he has seen the light in regards to medical cannabis.
Atheism and agnosticism are not exactly religions. Yeah. More the absence of belief in the philological practice, but they are both worth mentioning in this context. They often poll as the religious or non-religious, as the case may be, group that support cannabis legalization more than any other polled organized religion. Take the recent Pew Research poll that asked a variety of Americans with different beliefs about cannabis. The poll found that those who describe themselves religiously as atheist, agnostic, or nothing in particular, about 3/4 say cannabis should be legal for both medical and recreational purposes.
And what is striking about those numbers is not only that they're much higher than the percentage of those who identify as religious who believe cannabis should be legal for recreational and medical purposes, 54% according to the poll. Additionally, 76% is higher than the national average as a whole, is 60% according to Pew, meaning an atheist is more likely to support recreational and medical cannabis legalization than a non-atheist.
Yeah, there you go.
That makes sense. That makes sense because the Catholic religion frowns upon it, so it makes sense.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, I'm not a religious person. I just see these quotes every once in a while, and it says something to do with God and some seeds and spread them everywhere. They are healthy, blah, blah, blah. Well, where the cannabis plant came from.
Yeah.
Right. So, all right, on to our next story. And this one comes from MJ Biz Daily, and it says, the assault charge could tarnish the image of Ascend. Entire cannabis industry consultants warn. What's this about, Glenn?
If Abner Curtin, who's the founder and CEO and chair of cannabis multi-state operator Ascend Wellness Holdings, is known for anything, it's being outspoken. In January, after MedMen Enterprises failed to close Ascend's acquisition of its New York license, prompting a lawsuit, Curtin posted a series of tweets taking aim at the Los Angeles-based company. As New York and other states adopt adult-use cannabis, MedMen's actions send the worst message, namely that certain cannabis companies cannot be trusted to keep their word, Curtin wrote on January 3rd. MedMen has chosen to disregard the authority of New York regulators.
In March, he called MedMen management criminals, telling Business Insider that this is an attempt to extort Ascend for a higher price. They want to make a buck. A MedMen lawyer said, "We won't be responding to nonsense." Just recently, after the companies agreed to settle on an $88 million for the sale, New York headquartered Ascend walked away from the deal.
Curtin also has been an outspoken social justice advocate, with Ascend having donated more than $1 million to Last Prisoner Project, a nonprofit that works to support people convicted of cannabis crimes. In his LinkedIn profile, Curtin describes himself as a libertarian on a quest to end mass incarceration of non-violent criminals. In the Ascend execs has been quiet, but the Ascend exec has been quiet since being charged with battery earlier this month after a witness in Miami reported a physical altercation involving Curtin and his girlfriend. Curtin even deactivated his Twitter account, but not before he posted and subsequently deleted a series of 3 photos with the hashtags pot stocks.
The first was a photo of Curtin and the alleged victim cuddling and smiling. The second and third photos showed an affidavit of non-prosecution signed by the alleged victim requesting a complete dismissal of these charges because there was no physical violence in the case. A hearing is scheduled for September the 30th. And in the meantime, Ascend Wellness Holdings is conducting its own investigation.
While the company cannot comment on an active investigation, it is treating this matter with the utmost seriousness and will continue to evaluate appropriate steps as more information becomes available, Ascend said in a news release. The independent members of the board are keenly attuned to the company, its shareholders, and employees, and the management team is focused on ensuring AWH continues to operate effectively during this time. Neither Curtin nor Ascend responded to MJ Biz Daily's request for comment.
The cannabis business consultants contacted by MJ Biz Daily agreed that the company's investigation showed that Ascend is taking the matter seriously. Sarah Gullickson, founder and CEO of the Cannabis Business Advisors in Phoenix, said the publicly traded cannabis companies require exemplary behavior from executives. They sure do.
The cannabis industry has touted itself as a place for the underdog, a place for activists, and a place for women, she said. As a woman CEO and as somebody that helped build the industry for the last 13 years, this is serious. Not only is it serious for their board and their retail outlets, but it's serious for their shareholders. Potential investors will not only examine the financials of a company, but also the people managing it, Gillickson said, and cannabis is still illegal in many regions. Right now, we're working in the South, and some of our clients are nervous to bring it up to their other business partners because it's still a taboo industry, she said.
Yeah. Apparently, these allegations are only one problem, so they must have more than one problem. Avis Bolobin, the CEO of California-based consulting firm Civa Enterprises, says that Ascend's investigation will have to be thorough. Firing him could lead to other legal liabilities between him and the board and the company. You kind of need to play it out. Yeah, you can wrongful dismissals, all that stuff could come play into there.
Yeah. And if the charges are dropped and he's found innocent, then obviously you can't fire him for something he didn't do. So we don't know the full story until this has gone through court.
Yeah, exactly. Well, those things are important. People don't want to get involved in companies that could have, board members or whatever that have that type of issue.
Yeah, I'd say it's more important these days than it ever has been. I don't like support companies that support political things that I don't agree with. So I use that as my power,
Yes, that's true. All right. You know what time it is? It's So that's right. Time for our mushy moment from Forbes. Colorado will vote on legalizing psychedelic mushrooms in November.
And Colorado voters will have a say in the legalization of psychedelic drugs this November as an initiative to legalize psilocybin mushrooms and other naturally occurring psychedelics appears on the ballot for the general election. Known as the Natural Medicine Health Act, the proposal would legalize the cultivation, manufacturing, testing, transportation, sale, and purchase of psilocybin and psilocin, the psychoactive compound in magic mushrooms, and other natural psychedelic drugs, including dimethyltryptamine, ibogaine, and mescaline not derived from peyote. Why not derived from peyote?
I clap for you on the DMT. I would just use DMT. The Colorado Secretary of State's office announced in July that the Natural Medicine Colorado had collected enough signatures to qualify the NMHA proposal for the November ballot. The proposal, previously identified as Initiative 58, will appear on a general election ballots as Proposition 122. Supporters of Initiative 61, a separate proposal that would legalize natural psychedelics in Colorado without creating a path for commercialization, failed to garner enough signatures to qualify for the ballot.
Activists collected more than 100,000 more signatures than necessary to qualify for the NMHA for the ballot. Natural Medicine Colorado received support from New Approach PAC, a political action committee advocating for drug policy and criminal justice reform initiatives nationwide. I'm proud of the work that has led to this moment, said Kevin Matthews, a designated representative for the initiative, said in a press release cited by Marijuana Moment. These medicines hold such promise for people struggling with PTSD, depression, and mental health challenges.
As we deal with the growing mental health crisis in our state, we need new tools to help Coloradans heal, and these are research-backed therapies that can work even where other treatments have failed, according to Matthews, who also served as a campaign manager for psilocybin decriminalization initiative back in 2019. So he's been at this for a while.
Nice. Healing centers would dispense the psychedelics if voters approved the NMHA in the November general election. The psychedelic drugs legalized by the measure could only be available for purchase from licensed healing centers, which would be regulated by the state. Unlike a similar ordinance passed by Oregon voters in 2020, local governments would not have the power to ban healing centers from their jurisdictions. Thank F.
Yeah. Realm of Caring nonprofit based in Colorado Springs supports medical research into cannabis and now includes psilocybin and its effects. Matthew X. Lowe, PhD research director at Realm of Caring, partner in Unlimited Sciences, says there are numerous health and wellness benefits that come from consuming psilocybin.
And pre-industrial Mesoamerican cultures have consumed psilocybin for thousands of years in ritualized contexts to enhance psychotherapeutic healing, religious insight, and self-exploration, he wrote in an email. In recent years, there have been renewed interest in the therapeutic potential of psilocybin in treating a range of different psychotic disorders, including depression, anxiety, suicidality, substance use disorders, and obsessive compulsive disorders, among others.
Psilocybin consumption has now been consistently associated with antidepressants and analgesic effects and is being considered for the treatment of depression and anxiety, Lowe continues to say. In fact, a recent study determined the decreased brain modularity following psilocybin therapy was correlated with improvements in depressive symptomology and outcomes when compared with commonly prescribed antidepressants.
And the Proposition 122 follows the 2020 passage of Ballot Measure 109 in Oregon, which legalized the therapeutic use of psilocybin. Another ballot measure that decriminalized small amounts of all drugs was also approved by the state's voters during the election. State regulators are still in the process of drafting rules to implement Ballot Measure 109. Vancouver's Filament Health, a clinical stage natural psychedelic drug development company, has stabilized and isolated psilocin, the active compound in psilocybin. CEO Ben Lightburn says the company intends to bring the psychedelic drug into the U.S. as soon as states like Colorado establish a welcome regulatory environment.
Yeah,
nice.
He goes on, it finishes up with humans have been ingesting psilocybin containing magic mushrooms for millennia. So an anecdotal record of their safety already exists. Our goal at Filament is to demonstrate both the safety and efficacy of botanical psychedelic drug candidates in the first FDA-approved human clinical trials administering naturally sourced psychedelics. We're hopeful that the modern scientific evidence that psilocybin can effectively treat many modern health conditions, including substance use disorders, chronic pain, and depression, will help Coloradans to normalize this mushroom and enjoy its benefits. There you go.
And on a positive story.
That's right. See what happens in Colorado. And, it's spreading. That's all I can say. It's spreading. It's gonna be like
it is. It seems to be a popular thing now.
Yeah, I completely agree. All right, Glenn. What's up for the rest of your day?
We have to leave because we have another showing. I think 2:00, I think.
All right. Well, that's good. You got another house showing. Hopefully they come in with a better offer than the one that you're expecting to come in. And I'm going to try to see.
We got it during the break.
Oh, did you?
And we turned it down during the break.
Oh, that didn't take long.
I told her not even to respond to it, but my wife was more kind.
Oh, okay.
She just said say no.
That's good. All right. That's a Reefer report for September the 22nd, 2022 from the Legacy420.com news desk. Thanks to BMA Hydroponics, Dr. Buck B&B, Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, and Legacy 420. If you enjoyed the show, please share it with people you think can benefit from it. Plus, don't forget to educate, medicate, and do not incarcerate.
Peace.
Oh, yeah, baby. That's lovely.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The views expressed by the individuals during this broadcast are their own opinions, and they may not be the same as those of their group or other organizations they may be involved with.
BMA Hydroponics has everything you need to succeed. Visit our hydroponic superstore at 404 Maitland Drive in Belleville, and we'll show you how to grow your own quality cannabis for pennies per gram. We're open Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Thursdays and Fridays from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Call 613-967-9888. BMA Hydroponics. It's worth the drive.
The only way to go.
At Legacy 420, we believe in being different.
Experience the difference of quality control.
Our labs provide tested formulations for all of our products.
Experience the difference in trust.
Our customers can trust that we are following up-to-date COVID precautions for their safety.
Experience the difference in accessibility.
We're open 7 days a week. Please visit our website, legacy420.com, or contact us for curbside pickup as well as nationwide mail order shipping.
Legacy 420 values overall wellness.
Come and experience the difference of Legacy 420.
Did you know that the Pace Radio Network isn't just a radio network? That's right, because most, but not all of our programming is now done via video and is then podcasted at paceradio.net. So if you want to watch our programming, you'll find us on the Pace Radio Network's Facebook page, plus the show's own page, and you'll find us live on the network's YouTube channel. And don't forget, you can find it all, video and audio, at paceradio.net.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.